Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the final orb discussion. And because when I say final, I mean we're covering episodes 16 to 25, which is the rest of Orb. We have had, what, 3 discussions in the past? And now we have seen the entire show. When I say we, I mean me, who is Ordinary Ari, Elite Ari. You know, I have 2 channels. I make videos, just so many videos these days, including these Orb discussions. And I am joined by Jockey Bacon.
Hello. It's me, and I'm back at it again with the white van. Actually, I don't have any white vans.
That's okay.
Well, actually, I kind of do. But they're not like, quintessential vans, you know?
Mm-hmm. I own
They're
white
just like,
sneakers. That's all I own.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Do you call them sneakers over there?
I mean, I do. I don't know what anyone else does.
Yeah.
But what do you call
in the UK,
them?
lots of people call them trainers.
Oh yeah, I've heard that.
You
That's a
train
thing.
in them. You don't
Yeah.
sneak in them. Sneakers are like some of the least sneaky.
I
Surely.
suppose, yeah, they make loud noises. Yeah, like I don't know.
Yeah.
Why are we on into this? Okay, everyone listening right now, just for a recap, last time we got up to the end of basically the Oxy Bardeni storyline, Jolenta, like all of that happened. This time, yeah, he's long gone. Rest in peace to the great Bardeni. This time we have covered everything from 25-year time skip, which is pretty crazy, and also Bacon. It's literally the first frame of the thing. Like I opened up the episode and I paused it because I was like, oh, I would like watch it really soon, and it said 25-year time skip. I'm like, Jesus Christ! All right, we're doing a big time skip here. But yeah, it covers basically everything after that. Yeah, so I'm sure if anyone who watched a long time ago, that says exactly what we're covering. But yeah, what do we? I guess I guess I should say what I think because you already watched this before.
Yeah.
But this was awesome, Bacon. I love this. This might be my favorite stuff potentially.
You're you're saying it didn't fall off after the last 2 episodes?
Absolutely not, which is kind of crazy. I wonder what Heath was thinking when he said that. I don't know if he didn't watch the whole show or something, but this is really, really good. Like I think it would be hard to like contest that the best episodes in this like whole show are definitely in this part. There's 2 episodes to me that are like, wow, this is really good. Like really good in that like I'm tearing up watching this stuff, like which you know is a mark of a good show to me at least. So yeah, I really, really like this stuff, Bacon.
Yeah.
What do you think? You agree?
Oh, it's great. I love watching it again. It was good. I mean, it's always a bit tough when you restart and you have to get introduced to characters again that you're already invested in.
Sure.
These characters and then they die and you have to come back. But I can finally say it. The great thing about Orb is that there is a consistent character through every timeline, through every stage. Actually, maybe not really the end, but it is Nowak. The villain is the one that ties us all together.
It is
not
pretty
the
cool.
protagonist, which I love as a little twist.
Yep. And he realizes at the end.
He realizes. Yeah.
It's so good, Bacon. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Holy, that episode, holy Bacon. It's so good. I don't even know if we should. No, we probably shouldn't talk about it right now. But just I like it a lot. Okay, there's a lot of stuff to like in that episode. And yeah, Nowak is really good. I think, to be honest, I guess if we can do like character things, like who do I like the most and who do you like the most, stuff like that. I think at the moment, my top characters are probably still Jolenta, but also Nowak. I think those 2 are probably my 2 favorites. There may be like. There is a chance that maybe like Draka. I like Draka a lot. Yeah. What do you think, Bacon? Who are your like favorites? I know the show's all done.
Oh, I've already forgotten his name. I love Waluigi.
Schmidt or whatever.
Schmidt, that's it. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
he's pretty great.
I love all of them. I love all the characters that kind of join in, join out. I think Draka's one of those things that, you know what? Actually, there was a couple things where I was like, oh man, this is really slow at the start because they had some extra things. I didn't actually quite, because I was watching it weekly. I didn't click that there was like. They were like, oh, here's a flashback. But it's from a character that you won't understand the flashback of until like 8 episodes later. And I didn't even understand it the first time I watched it. That was pretty funny.
Well, you mean the guy who betrays them? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
What's his name again?
I couldn't tell you.
Pulaski. Orb character. Can I just get the name of all the Orb characters?
I don't know. The wiki for Orb is pretty terrible. I tried to look up some stuff and there were no character pages.
Frey. F-R-E-I. Frey.
Yeah.
And then there's Lewandowski. There we go.
Oh, yes.
That was the other guy.
Yes, I remember that guy.
That was there for his sister.
Yes.
To explain to her why God does stuff. So yeah.
Yep.
I really like Antoni in this one as well.
Oh,
so
actually,
funny, like,
I
Yeah.
completely agree. Actually, I would swap up Draka with Antoni as being one of my top three, I'd say. I like him a lot.
Oh,
I completely
nice.
agree. He's
Because I
really good.
like at the end of the last arc, you hate him. You're like, this guy's the
Yep.
worst guy ever. And then and then you're like, oh, but I kind of want this hero sit. Like he's gonna get he's very reasonable. You know,
He's a pragmatist,
he
yeah.
aligns with our motives of getting heliocentrism out, even though he's all about money.
Yep.
So yeah.
Man, he is so good, yeah. And like I was saying, the Nowak episode is my favorite, and then the one before that is probably my second favorite, which is like the whole latter half of that episode is basically just Antoni monologuing to Nowak, and it's so good. Holy, like that whole interaction is amazing. I like it a lot.
Yeah. And you're waiting for it as well, which makes it even cooler.
Yep. And it is crazy. Like he pulled out Jolenta's tooth. You know, we hate him for that, but oh my goodness. And now when
He did, didn't he?
yeah, but now in the opening, he's an old man now in the opening, and like it's like, whoa, oh my goodness, this is crazy. Look at him, he's so old, and he used to be in the opening, he was young, and oh my goodness. So I don't know, it's just
And it's been there the whole time. You're like, why is Raphael in the burning building?
Oh,
he's
what
in
a
the burning
reveal!
building.
Bacon when he showed up. Oh my goodness, that was probably my. I think I paused and I was like, oh my god, I have to take this in. I can't believe he's here. And it like is exactly what was in the opening. And oh, how did I not see this coming? And oh, it's so good. So yep.
Yeah. So should we start from the kind of start and go through it all?
Yeah, I guess we
Bits
can.
and bobs, because
So we open.
we don't have to spend like, I mean, we don't. There's so much to talk about, but we'll probably find one thing to just yap about a lot, because there's a lot of good conversations. I love conversations. This is why Orb's so good.
Like, it is true. Yeah. So 25-year time skip. The first episode is kind of all about meeting Schmidt and their, what did they call them? It was like the something Liberation Front or something. Yeah. They had like a name for like, it wasn't the Heretic Liberation. No, it was. I think it was the Heretic Liberation Front or something like that. Where they're like going around and they're like freeing heretics and all of that. But I guess to me, the most interesting thing here was about the focus on like the technologies, which I was not expecting at all. Like how there's the three developing technologies. It was, one of them is obviously explosives, which was like the final thing they talked about. There was the compass, I think was one of them. What was the other one? Oh, it was the printing press. And it was like, these are like three technologies that are like kind of, I don't know, progressing like humans forward. And I don't know, it was interesting. I don't know. I don't really have anything particular to say about it, just beyond, oh, what an interesting selection of like technologies. I guess it makes sense.
Yeah.
For all three of those.
Yeah, so he said explosives, he said printing press or movable type.
Yeah, movable type.
And what was the other one?
The compass.
What was the second one? The compass.
Yeah.
Which is not really that relevant, but yeah.
But it's probably a crazy technology though. Like, but that also feels like it should be way older than that, I'm guessing, right? Like, how is that only developed in like the 1400s?
The compass.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be so. How do you navigate without it?
Like, you know what? It's probably like a reference to because it was revealed at the end that it's around about 1483 or whatever. So you have 1492 is when Christopher Columbus landed in the Americas. So
whoa, I had no idea.
So that could line up, I guess. So
yeah, makes sense. Yep. So I guess about Schmidt, we learned that he is I think he calls himself a naturalist, or like someone calls him a naturalist. I remember this term. This is a term that was used. And my
it's
understanding,
very interesting use of the term naturalist.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, because it feels like it's a term where it's like this is like a proper term, or like it's a thing that exists in reality or something. Is that true? It is like a term, like a well-established.
So typically, a naturalist would be, from my understanding, if someone was called you a naturalist, often is paired with materialist. So there could be some nuances I'm missing out here. But naturalist would be something that only believes in the natural world that exists. So there is no supernatural world beyond our senses.
Oh, interesting.
So I think that's quite different to Schmidt, but but like say like Richard Dawkins or Christopher Hitchens would be well-known naturalists. Bertrand Russell, I'm pretty sure, is another one where they're like, oh, like what happened before the Big Bang? Well, we'll find out with science. We can't just assume like God created it, or that's maybe, or there's no such thing as like a spiritual experience that is like from a divine realm. It's all like religious experiences can be explained through like brain chemistry, for example, stuff like that. Or so that's what a naturalist I would. But then that's also from my understanding of a materialist as well, where you only believe in matter. Um, so I could understand if there's probably some nuance that I'm missing.
Well,
If I
I'm
was more
curious
more
because
read on it,
like
because they're often paired
yeah.
together. But in the context of this show, it's very different.
I guess my interpretation of what Schmidt says, or like his belief, is that he has one belief. Or I guess he has two beliefs. Now that I'm thinking about it, um, he knows for a fact that the universe exists, that like the world exists, I guess. And
Yeah,
his assumption or his belief is that God must have created it. It's a thing that he like believes to be true, that God created the universe. And he also believes that like there is no God does not either he doesn't intervene or like his actions cannot be perceived, and it's like it's foolish to kind of try and interpret them. I guess that's kind of my assumption, my understanding of his naturalism or whatever,
yeah.
where it's like he believes
Uh,
the world exists and that is it, but he also believes it was created by God. So I got no idea.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I really like. I mean, I'm not sure. Like, I'm not familiar with scholarship, but I like this interpretation because it's like another interesting flip on a thought where I'm sure everybody's kind of heard the idea like, oh, God moves in mysterious ways. Like he
Mm,
moves, like you might be suffering now and it may be bad, but there's a reason for it. You might not understand the reason, but God, trust God has a reason for it, kind of thing.
yep.
And this is that, but on the other way. It's like instead of being like, oh, through like, because it's like God has a plan for it, but then you think, you might be thinking, like, well, I want to like you never apply that logic to like positive beliefs about God. You just say, oh, he's loving or whatever.
Mm,
While or like when you like we do baptism, we don't say, well, God only knows why we do baptism. I know that we do baptism for this and this. So he's kind of applying it to all of it. He's like, God is mysterious. God, by his nature, is above our human comprehension. Like, why would like if we could understand God, like he wouldn't really be that
yeah.
godly, would he? Like that's the philosophical presupposition under all these things. And it's like instead of being like, oh, we use the Bible, whatever, or the world to try and understand God in a little way, he's like, uh, you're just it's just a reflection of your own biases, and it's man-made that you have
Mm,
these reasons that you believe you're adding on to God when yeah, like it's like why add all this man-made stuff to it? That's just your interpretation, bro.
yeah.
Like like God moves in mysterious ways. Why would you expect to be able to understand him? So
Yeah.
why would you think that? Well, yeah, and so it's this kind of flip idea where he's just like, it happens because it happens, and that's fate. And then he has this moment at the end of the series where where he wavers in in believing that it's his fate, and now then he chooses to do his own fate, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
because his
He flips a
anyway,
coin
it's a very interesting thing. Yeah. Well, no, he doesn't. It's when he
manually.
chooses to go back. Yeah. He. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. He flips a coin, but not even that. Not even that. He is when he's questioning his face when he's fighting the guys at the end with Nowak when
Sure,
they
yeah.
stab him in the back.
Well,
That's when he's
yeah. I
questioning
guess
it.
what I would say is that like the questioning of the like his questioning is clear when he like like usually he'd leave it to God, right? He'd leave it to he doesn't need to interpret anything. He flips a coin, gets an outcome, and he goes with that. But then
Yeah.
he manually takes the coin when it doesn't have the outcome that he wanted. He flips it, and that's kind of like the sign of his faith wavering at that point, I
Yeah.
guess, where it's like he like
Yeah.
he's not happy with the way things are. He's gonna do things his own way, and it's like, oh, interesting. Um,
Yeah. And
yeah,
he kind of, but he explains his ways like, I'm compelled to do this because it is my fate. you know,
yeah, true.
like so, like stuff. He has his reasoning for it, but yeah, it's nice. I like it a lot because it's like character growth. But like also you have like something that happens with Draka as well, where I mean, really obviously she's able to bask in the sun again, but then she chooses instead of being like a pure capitalist. Um, or
Mm,
pure money motivated, she then says, "Oh, I'm going to keep the heart. I'm going to keep the emotional part
mm,
of this heliocentrism, and you guys keep the rational part, or whatever." Which I thought was interesting as well.
yep.
But yeah, so we start off with them exploding it. It was just a cool scene. They got explosives.
They
I
have helmets
like,
and stuff. They're like super cool helmets, and I'm like, oh my
yeah,
god,
they've
who
got
is
their
this
shields
guy?
as well.
Like,
Which yeah,
yeah,
and it kind of sets up well when they have shields later on. Like, oh, of course they have shields because they always
mm,
had shields. They have their armor,
yep,
and yeah, I think it's also interesting here because it really sets a tone that you're like, oh, the world is changing. Like they're
yeah,
in the heart of like a chapel, and they've outmaneuvered these guys.
yep,
And I really like how they have there's like it's like the battles are very small scale and very mundane. It's just like, oh, yeah, he just stabbed me and I'm dead, kind of
yep,
thing. It's very quick to the point. Yeah, so they have the explosions and they get away. I
Yep.
think they got the book. That's why what they're trying to do.
Yeah, and then immediately I figured out who their leader was. You know, Bacon. I'm a genius.
Oh, did you actually?
Because yeah,
Nice.
and
I
the
was
reason
wondering
I
how
did, there
fast.
was only one reason why, which is that I think it might be in the first episode or the second episode. Whenever they're in the basically at some point Schmidt mentions, oh, was there any mention of Badeni and Oxy or whatever? And I was like, oh, Badeni Oxy, the only person who can know that is
Oh,
Jolenta.
nice.
And I was like, oh, okay. I
Nice.
was so
That's good.
excited at that point. I was like, oh my goodness, we're gonna see Jolenta. I can't wait. Um, yeah, it was really good. But yeah, they were there for a book. I guess Oxy's. Well, I guess the implication is that it would be like It is interesting. We skipped the whole like beggar people with a book on their head storyline. We skipped all of like what's his name? No, wait. Oh my god, the guy who wrote oh my god, Brodowski. No, not Brodowski. Oh my god, Grabowski, right?
Grabowski.
Yes.
There we go. Yeah.
So I guess the implication is that he went along, did the book, like made it, and then maybe got like marked as a heretic or something. Who knows? But true, they got the book. And then from there, I guess they go to this like abandoned village. Is probably the best way to put it. And we get, I guess that's the point at which we get that flashback, I think, that we already talked about. And at this point, I'm just thinking, like, who on earth is this? Like, is this Schmidt, like, when he's younger, and somehow he, like, became, like, really entrenched in the idea of, like, the thing that actually burned his house, like, his village down, and I guess that wasn't him at all. So, yeah. And then I guess the next thing to talk about is just Draka, I guess, right? Yeah, we meet her. Now, Bacon, you gotta clarify for me here.
Yeah.
Are we meant to know it's a girl? Because the whole time, until the reveal where they say her for the first time, I thought it was a guy. I was like, oh, it's like it's a young boy or something. And then you like finally when she's talking to Antoni, like right at the end, you get like a zoomed out shot, and it like you can see that she's like taller and like it's clearly not a young boy, and it's like, oh wow, this is a woman here, or a girl, I guess. Like I don't know how old she is actually, but
was that I think she was a girl the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah,
do you think they're like trying to hide it, or do you think I just completely missed it?
I don't think.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, I don't know what to say.
I think it makes more sense. I mean, I understand you could think it's like a young boy, but like it makes also sense from the sense that like she was smart.
Yeah.
But because she's a woman, she didn't have a similar place in her little village even as the nomads. But yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So yeah, Draka. I like her. She's like me, Bacon. She's an atheist. Oh my goodness. We love atheism.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what I could say about her. There's like there is the whole, I guess her storyline we've kind of talked about a little bit, which is that she needed money because she felt like money gave her peace of mind, basically. Which also interestingly ties in with her whole perspective. Well, I guess this is the point, which is that it ties in with the perspective of how right now people are afraid in the same way that she's afraid because her father was killed or died or whatever. And in that fear, they seek out God, but like in the future, they're going to actually seek out alternative forms of like things to distract your mind, like things like books and entertainment. And obviously in our world, like, discussions like this, like videos that people are going to be watching. And it's interesting. Yeah, I don't really have anything to say about it beyond, good, interesting insight. Money is peace of mind. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so she has her uncle, who's a bit of a funny character, but he was very much like, here's 3 truths for you.
Yes.
There is no God. Don't assume. And what was it? Yeah, there's. Don't assume there is a God. Oh, that's the only one I can remember. Yeah,
I could not tell you.
Ones. But yeah.
Have conviction or something, right? Like trust your conviction or something. Yeah. That was one of them. Yeah, I guess there is a whole element of Draka had this. I think it was during that scene in the flashback where the uncle is saying this. And I thought it was super interesting, actually, which is that I think he says, it's either he says it or Draka comes to this realization. But the point is that in a world where everyone believes in God, you not believing in it gives you an advantage, because the people who believe in God are kind of limited into things they can believe and do in the world, but you are not. Like, you have an inherent advantage over those people in certain regards, in most regards, I would say, because you're not restricted by their rules. You're not restricted by their way of thinking. I thought that was kind of cool. So yeah. Then what else could I say? Is there anything else about Draka in this early stuff? I guess she has the scene with Antoni, where we first learn, like, I think the biggest takeaway from this scene for me was that it's like it felt like a very much like a oh if only kind of moment, where it felt like
Orb has a couple of those.
yeah, I suppose, yeah. It to me it felt like man, like yeah, if only she was actually able to go with Antoni here in this moment, things would have been okay. Like he is the villain at this point up until now. Like he is the person who like took out Jolenta's tooth, is the person who's like a very vindictive kind of dislike of people like Nowak, I guess. But he's open-minded in this conversation where Jolenta's not Jolenta, where Draka is talking about like the future of the church and how the authority is going to wane over time, and clearly he's pragmatic about it. And he probably would have been. I guess we find out eventually that he is open to the idea of heliocentrism, or at least he can be convinced on it, on the merits of it, or the validity of, I guess, investigating it. And yeah, and if in this moment, you know, if Draka had actually gone with him and Schmidt hadn't intervened and everything, then things might have turned out very different. Not that it would have changed the course of history or anything, as we find out, you know, at the end, like ideas, the truth will find us a way. But yeah, for these characters at least, it would have changed their lives, which yeah, sad but interesting. Then I think that's all I've got for Draka, to be honest, Bacon. Anything else you want to say about her specifically?
No, I just like how she kind of evolves and takes on the heart of things. I'm glad that like it's like some characters have like kind of I guess more anime abilities, like her memory. If that makes sense, more like less believable things. But I like how it's essentially like, oh, you're really good at helping us with maps, and then she's also smart, and it's just one of her abilities, actually, how she helps her local village. And then when she burns the book, you're like, what is she doing? And she's like, oh, I've memorized all the pages. And you're like, oh, that's kind of cool, a cool moment. And you're like, that's a fun bargaining chip, you know? Like it's like, yeah, even though it's a bit kind of out there in terms of the abilities of the show, I guess it's still like presented in a way that's pretty compelling.
You know like, what? Oh. I think I buy it. I think it's because like the way that we're sold on this book is that Oxy is the one who's writing it and has wrote it to be like very simple readable. And like easy to, readable, I guess. So I guess I don't know, obviously word for word would be, I don't buy that.
It's not very long. It's like 50 I guess like 50 pages. But like knowing it word for word is pretty crazy.
Yeah,
but,
it is very crazy,
after reading it once. But like yeah, it's not like
she's a genius, cool. Bacon.
She's a genius.
Yep. Okay. But true, she burns the book, she goes along with them. And she goes to, this is actually interesting to me, which is that they take her to the headquarters, which is where Jolenta is. And it's so much less grand than I was expecting. Like the way they were kind of talking about it before, where they're like, wow, you're the great legendary Schmidt who's like freeing all these heretics and stuff. I was kind of expecting like a massive, like a whole city or something like that. Or maybe they've got like this whole army and something, but no, it's just like, it's literally Jolenta in a house and there's like a second house there. And then later on we find that there's maybe like, 7 other people. It's like this very tiny operation. And I don't know, it made it, I don't know how to express this, but it's like, it adds more heart to it, I guess, or something, where it's like, man, these individual small people have banded together and they're doing something. That's why I like that. Yeah. Then the next thing is kind of like a sidestep here, but we can talk about how Nowak gets like reintroduced into the story, which is that we follow, now this is something that I would appreciate far more on a second watch, I'm sure. But we meet this guy who's drowning people, and apparently this is the guy we've seen before, but I don't remember who he is. Is he one of the new apprentice torturer guys from, like, there were the 2 young people who were gonna task with like torturing like Jolenta and stuff but refused? Like, is that one of them, or do you know who that was, Bacon?
Which person are you talking about?
It was the guy who was in charge of like the heretic like Inquisition stuff. And then he went and got Nowak, I think, after. Oh no, got him.
No, I don't think he.
Okay.
No, he just had connections to the guy who okay, I'm also trying to remember the connections, but basically there was a guy, he was drowning a guy, and then this other guy comes along and says you should go see this guy who like mentored me, I think it was, so he was maybe one of the guys.
Oh yes, that would make more sense. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so he was the blonde guy. So you had the brown haired guy that died, and then the blonde haired guy that
makes sense.
It was able to do the torture. That was him.
Yeah.
And he was also the priest in the confession booth at the end of the
series. I was so curious because I had no idea, and I was like, this has to be someone we know. I feel like, does that make sense? That's my
theory. That's what I'm thinking.
What makes you think that? Is it because they just looks and sound similar,
There was
or?
some line of dialogue where
Mm.
he talked about his one sin of the past and how they tortured a
Oh,
girl. I think it
yes,
was.
they did. Yeah, you said like my friend
So
did something terrible, but I like let him die, and yeah, that makes perfect sense. You figured it out,
yeah,
Bacon.
so
My goodness.
I just don't know if he was the guy. I guess I just put it together now that he would have also been the same guy that was talking about the drowning. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Wow. Okay, that's kind of crazy. I like that a lot. Um, man, the connections in the show are so cool. Like the time skips and I don't. What a unique, interesting show.
yeah,
Um,
it's very interconnected, which is very fun.
yeah.
And it also doesn't really expect you to not know it, but like it kind of at some point it does just leave it. So yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So we see Nowak. He's drowning in alcohol. Obviously, Jolenta is not in his life anymore. He's very depressed. He blames heliocentrism for like all the wrongs in his life. Um, to me, I guess the most surprising thing is probably that he survived all that, and like he is still going on. Like he's still he. I guess at this point is probably like I don't know. Fueled by hate is probably the best word. Because he probably thinks he has like at that point he thinks he has eradicated heliocentrism. Like he has the orb. He's stabbing it, which is
Yeah.
a cool visual. Yeah, but he's still living, which is interesting. Like you figure like someone like that, he would either, I guess, commit suicide, but obviously it's a very big sin at the time. Or he'd like, I don't know, just, I guess I don't really know. It's surprising that he's alive, but he is. And it says something about him, I guess, but I don't quite know what. But he gets recruited, and the whole time I'm like, oh my goodness, is he going to meet Jolenta? I'm just so excited, Bacon. I'm looking so forward to it. I'm like, what is this conversation going to be like?
Yeah.
And it never happens. And oh my goodness. Firstly, how do you? First, we should talk about Jolenta, and then we can talk about how we reacted to it, I guess. But basically, Nowak is like tasked with basically investigating the heliocentrism and stuff, and hunting down the leader of this group of people. And then simultaneously, we have Jolenta, and we meet her, and she's older and has a different voice actor, I suspect. And she's missing a tooth, so it's definitely the same person. And she like has some like interactions with Draka, and I think the coolest part for me was when she's like writing the book down, like she's writing it. I guess Jolenta's literally the one writing it down, and she's hearing the words of Oxy through Draka, and she like sees Oxy, or like the anime shows us Oxy like in Draka's place, and like, oh, that's very cute. So I like that visual a lot. Oxy is a character who's like grown on me a lot, actually. I remember the first time I talked about him in these things, I was like, Bacon, I don't know what I think about this guy.
You're like, but Danny is way cooler.
Yeah.
Which is
it's
fair.
probably still true. But I do like Oxy a lot now. Actually, I think I like almost every character in this show quite a lot. There's not really any that I'm like, oh, that was a kind of bad, boring character or something. Which is cool. But yeah, I guess anything before we talk about Jolenta's death, do you have anything about like the time spent with Jolenta here as an adult? Because I don't really have anything here.
I just like there's so many conversations. I mean, we didn't cover the conversation that Draka had with Schmidt in the van, in the carriage, which is like one of my favorites.
Let's talk about that.
Like about where, like they're like, oh, we agree with each other, and then she's like, yeah, you don't believe in God, do you? And he's like, no, I definitely believe in God, and I'm angry with what you said, but I will be reasonable. It's such an interesting,
Yeah,
so
I completely agree.
Like
and it's also like a testing of limits of like how fanatical is Schmidt about this, and is he gonna like attack her for this, or is he gonna be like reasonable about it, or is he gonna hold a grudge? And he doesn't really do any of that, which is interesting. Yeah, I agree. It's a cool conversation. There's also that we haven't mentioned this at all, but there's the whole background element of it was the Reformation people, basically. I don't know what they call it, Reformationists or whatever. I don't know anything about that beyond like I vaguely remember learning about this in religion class. But was that the Martin Luther King stuff, or was that something else?
Yeah, Martin Luther King, but this came like 20 years later. I imagine there was stuff that was beforehand that is kind of referring to. I don't know it quite as well. But Martin Luther, with the use of the printing press, this is how he got his start. So like it's historical backing here on how he got to, like that this printing press would have been crazy. It's just doesn't work out because it's 20 years too early or whatever, so
sure. Yep. Yeah, I guess another one of the I remember I have a line written out of my notes from Jolenta when she's talking with Draka. This really got to me, and it is like a point of the show. which is, she says, right now, young people like you are history's protagonists. And I'm like, oh, that's so cute.
Yeah.
Because it is like Raphael and then Oxy and then Draka and then Albert, and it's like these are the main people, you know. Jolenta, she's an adult now. She's not the main character. She's just there to support like the young people who are like, you know, the ones who are the most passionate and the most like unbiased in their beliefs and all that. And it was very cool. So I like that line a lot. Yep. But
Yeah, no, it's cool. Yeah, I like the, you know, them talking about their conviction. It's my conviction. You know, this is why I do it. And
yeah.
it's like a breath of fresh air because it's like, well, all these people have very different beliefs, but they align on this thing, and it's like just interesting to see how they like. It just makes, you know, character. You know, this is okay. Can I say this is why I feel like at the ground of loads of things, what makes just really good, compelling stories is anticipating character um interactions. And I think one part of it, like in an obvious sense, is like, oh, these people, they have different you know, they have different viewpoints, and you kind of want to see where they're at, and this will help you illuminate to you like where they're coming from and this like conflict. You
Mm-hmm.
also have another example of like this anticipation of a character interaction between Yolenta and Nowak. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like this is what makes compelling, you know, character drama, I guess, as well.
Yep.
But I think also, which Orb doesn't have, but doesn't really need to, but like is also like physical confrontations, like fights. You know, like this is a big part of anime.
Mm-hmm.
Like just getting, oh, I can't wait till Gojo fights Sukuna or whatever. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
um all this stuff, and it's like. I guess this is just one aspect that Orb does really well, which is like these interactions between characters where they explain their philosophical beliefs to each other. And for some reason, I feel like in loads of other shows, it doesn't work. Like you're just like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
they do this, and it feels a bit generic or whatever. But then because they wrap it in like a in theology that makes utter sense to them, I find it quite interesting, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe this is like a personal thing, but like even let's say Lewandowski and his sister, you'd be like, okay, there's how many anime characters has like uh, like a sibling that's died when they're younger, or
Mm-hmm.
that's impacted them in some way or whatever. But then he's just like, yeah, when my sister died, I couldn't answer her questions like why was she born, you know?
Yeah.
And so now I'm like searching for that reason, that belief of that I can tell her like God had a reason for that you were born, and that's like my what I look to strive for, that actual understanding, not the knowledge of, but the understanding and the belief that, you know, that's God did that, you know,
Mm-hmm.
for a reason, you know. So anyway, it's just one of those things, which I quite like. I
Yeah.
think that's why I make Orb special. And like the van scene, even getting Yolenta's updated perspective and how that then, you know, how they're aware of the deficiencies in their worldview, but they still accept that because, you know, what's the price for truth? You know, it's like you have to,
Mm-hmm.
you know, all this stuff. Anyway, I don't know. There's like a broad synthesis of I'm kind of putting together right now, but yeah, bit of a ramble, but there we go. That's why you're here.
Yes, I'm glad to hear this ramble. Everyone listening right now is so glad to hear that they're going to leave a comment right now and say thank you, Bacon.
Yes,
Okay.
for your ramble.
Yes. Um, but true, the philosophies and the interactions of the characters are a highlight of Orb, so I completely agree. Um, but you know what else is a highlight of Orb, Bacon? Yolenta
What?
sacrificing herself, okay? My
PogChamp.
goodness. It's just so, like, she looks up, you know, she sees all the memories of her past, the good and the bad. Like she sees everything from, I guess, her and Nowak when they're younger. She sees Oxy and Badeni. She sees her being tortured as well, like stuff like that. Um,
Hmm.
and it's just like, and the music, Bacon, the music is just so good in the show.
Yeah.
Especially for moments like this, like the important moments, the music is
Hmm.
always like accent or making it better. Yeah. And then Nowak shows up, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is the chance. Because also previously to this, there's like a whole setup she has when she's talking to Draka, I think, which is like the worst thing that could happen to me is that I like meet my father, and I like abandon everything that I've
Yeah.
I've like had until this point, and I don't know what I would do at that point. And it like the situation happens, and she like doesn't like she doesn't abandon it. And she might not even have recognized that her dad was there, right? But it's just I don't know. It's like a whole. It's a situation where it's like, man, I wish these two characters would meet, but like the tragedy is that they never do, right?
Yeah.
It's yeah. In the moment, I have to say,
But you
Bacon, I was
still,
incredibly, at the moment, I was frustrated. I was like, oh my goodness, how are they not meeting? And I was obviously,
yeah,
I was
the
still tearing
dude.
up where I'm like, oh my god, Jolenta, oh god, she's dying. But at the same time, I'm like, god damn it. If only Nowak said
Imagine
something.
watching this weekly, Ari.
Oh my
Imagine
goodness.
watching this weekly.
True. Holy. And then you gotta wait. Actually, it's not, luckily you don't have to wait that many weeks until you see that Nowak recognized her, I guess. But, it is true. My goodness. Yeah. There you get like a brief moment when Nowak like has a reaction to her there, and it's like, oh, you know, he like maybe the thought crossed his mind, and that was Jolenta. But
Yeah.
it's crazy. We got a big explosion, and they're like freaking out. They're like, oh my god, what the hell was that? That's explosives? The power of explosives? Yeah, good scene.
Good scene indeed.
Yep. And then after this, we have, I guess then we have the whole storyline of going to the printing press place, or I guess transporting the printing press like types and all that, to the location where all the other members of the Liberation Front are. And my goodness, Bacon, the printing press is crazy. They like print the whole thing in like no time at all.
Yeah.
Oh no, wait, this is an important thing before this.
It's gonna take days, but
that is true. Yeah, my printer can print out a whole book in probably an hour. Okay. But before this, their press is broken. Their letters are broken. So Draka like melts down her money and.
And did you see why they were broken though? Did you find out? Did you suspect Free was evil?
Oh wait, it didn't even cross my mind. But yeah, that is obviously what it is, isn't it?
Well, because he was handling the bag.
Yeah.
The thing, and you could see him like I didn't know what it was actually until like later, but yeah, like he was touching the.
Yeah. I assumed it was like them showing that, oh, when it was bumping around in the carriage or something. That makes way more sense. It was like sabotaged. Yeah. Oh, we didn't even talk about the whole interaction they had going there, where it's like this church people like meet them, and they're about to go in, and this damn intrusive guy just wanted to run immediately into the carriage. It's like, you got any like cloth in there? And he like runs into him. Like, what are you doing, man? Like, no courtesy here. You can't just like ask them if they're. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is that like this plot point could almost be entirely removed from the story and not really change it too much, which isn't quite true.
Yeah.
Because I think it shows that Draka would trust them and convinces Schmidt that she is trustable.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those. Yeah.
I don't know if I could be misremembering. At that point, she gives the, I don't know if it's like a top scarf. I don't know what you call it. Like the some warm thing. She gives that element of clothing. Yeah. And then she's left with Jolenta's outfit, right? Or something like something that Jolenta gave her. Yeah. Which I guess also sets it up as like she is symbolically the new like spiritual leader of this group. So it's important for that, I think. But you didn't have to have like a scene like this to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you go. They print the stuff. Oh, there's a really cute moment, Bacon, where Draka was like, you know, no one knows the name of our leader, right? They're like, no. They're like, oh, we should put her name on the cover. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that's what she wanted. That's what she wanted, her name out there when she was a little girl. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Oh, that's so true. And I was like, oh, this is how Nowak will find out.
Yep. No. Yeah, it was so good though. But yeah, we have, after this, I guess we have well, I'm sure there's like do you got anything to talk about before the betrayal stuff and leaving this? Because I'm not sure. I'm sure there's stuff there.
I don't think so.
Yeah. No. But yeah, the guy betrays.
We already talk about we already talk about Lewandowski.
Yep.
I would also say there's an interesting scene where I guess Schmidt is sharpening his sword, and Draka says, "Well, you're using technology and all this stuff, right?"
Yeah.
True. So I was like, Schmidt is like the anti-Ari.
Wait, in what sense?
Because he hates technology.
Oh, I guess, yeah, true.
Anything man-made, yeah.
No, but he uses technology to end technology, right?
Yeah. Which I thought was interesting. I was like, okay, buddy.
Yep. It is interesting. Because I feel like the whole time, at least because I guess me as an atheist, I'm watching this show and I'm the whole time on Draka's side. But I wonder if that's like I feel like that's probably a thing, right? Like we're positioned to be on her side in all these arguments, right? Or do you think it's like because I'm an atheist, I'm like thinking that? Like, what do you think when say like a hardcore, like religious person watching this, do you think you'd be like, wow, you know what? Schmidt has more of a point here about, well, not Schmidt maybe, but like, I don't know, any of them more religious.
Yeah, it's hard to know. I feel like maybe, but then I also think like she's so transparently, like money driven that I think that would turn off a lot of people.
Yeah,
you know?
True.
Like if they not, so is this like not an evil thing? Maybe, I don't know. You know, so
yeah, true. All right. They flip a coin. They have to come up with a decision. They've been betrayed. This guy betrayed them because the backstory, you know, we had the whole backstory with the cross and everything. And then people are coming. Nowak's coming. They have to plan something. What are they going to do? Oh my goodness. How are they going to get out of there? Are they going to stay and fight? Or are they all going to scatter? And then Draka comes up with an idea of flipping a coin. Either they all stay here, I think. No, they all go their own way, right? It was like they all scatter. Or all of them stay, except for someone who goes and, like, protects Draka so she can get away. Good idea, you know. It worked, I guess, in the end, kind of. And then we get a cool fight scene, Bacon. Oh my goodness. Like, everyone shows up, they got the crossbows, and oh my goodness, those damn crossbows have ended the fights of so many characters that we've seen so far, so we hate those damn crossbows.
OP, OP.
Yep.
If Vinland Saga's told us anything, crossbows OP.
That's right, but not against the great shields of the Liberation Front, who was deflecting those crossbows. It was awesome. They have this cool formation, they're all, like, marching in slowly, and oh my god.
Do you not recognize that formation? That's like the Roman one.
Is that like a thing? I have no idea. Is it the one they used in Game of Thrones that one time? Yeah.
I think it's like a turtle.
A turtle?
That's what I think. Turtle shield.
It looks
turtle,
like one.
Whatever. Yeah. So they call it a pseudo or something like that. Forget the actual name, but yeah.
Well, it was very cool. I wonder if they all survived, but probably not. I'm assuming they all died. But yep. Then I guess Draka and Schmidt run and they steal the horses, but Nowak sees them. And interestingly, I guess the guy who was with Nowak, who was, I think he was the torturer guy that I was talking about, right? The drowning guy.
Yeah, the ginger guy, yeah.
Yeah, he's basically, he doesn't want to go. He's a bit scared, or a bit anxious about, you know, he's never been in such a stressful situation, I guess, as an Inquisitor.
Yeah,
but
poor guy.
You know what? He tortures people.
As he was gleefully killing, you know.
Yep, true. But we get a Schmidt-Nowak fight. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Old man.
There is some interesting like power scaling stuff here, like where you're like, oh yeah, Nowak's actually really good at fighting, but to be fair, like, he only, yeah, I mean Nowak only wins because he like stabs him in the back at the end, but
yeah, true.
I guess during this, like, I guess we've been pretty comfortable in Schmidt's abilities, you know, as a fighter.
Yeah, that. We didn't even talk about the cool fight where it's like there's the guy with the sword, and then he has like a knife, and he has to like get the sword from him by just using his knife. It was so cool, and he turns the battle around, and oh my goodness, it was awesome. So he's a good fighter, that is true. Who do you think is the best fighter in this entire show, Bacon?
I think peak Nowak is probably the strongest.
Yeah, probably. The only reason I would agree with that is because like we get that one scene of Oxy being like, this guy, I can't, there's no way, I'll die if I fight him. I'm like, yeah, true.
Yeah, ex-mercenary and all this stuff. So.
Yeah, true. What a guy.
True.
Okay.
I love a good power scaling.
Yep. Okay, then we have all the good stuff, Bacon. Okay, so Schmidt dies. Do you have anything to say about Schmidt's death? I don't particularly have anything.
No.
Okay. But then
we kind of talked about how he went against his fate, you know?
Yep, true. Yep. We go to a little village, I guess. And inside there, Draka finds Antoni and then convinces him on the idea of heliocentrism, or a book on heliocentrism, and they want to like split profits, and she says 50-50, and he's like, no, 80-20, and I'm like, wow, 80-20, that's actually not bad. Like, you know, she's not really doing much here. I guess it's not really that she's not doing much. She is doing a lot, but it's like Antoni really has all the leverage here. He could have asked for like 95-5, and she'd probably have to go along with it. Yeah. But this is, I guess, the bulk of the Antoni stuff here, which is that it's super cool. Where it's like, this is the beginning of where, at least I started to, I can't speak for you, Bacon, but where I started to realize that, like, man, like, heliocentrism really is like a personal vendetta of his father. Like, we haven't really seen, like, Antoni is clearly not like against it. Like, it is, and he has that moment of realizing, like, is it actually blasphemy? Like, what's happening here? Like, I've never seen it recorded anywhere else. And it's like, well, this is actually super interesting. Yeah, like this conversation, I guess they have is all about like how the people in power are the ones who kind of get to decide what is blasphemy, because there's a lot of things in the world that are not inherently related to God. Like, heliocentrism is just a theory about the universe that has nothing inherently to do with God. It's not like, oh, speaking bad on God's name or something, like that could be a sin or something. It's like, that could be like something that is inherently bad from a religious perspective. But like, an interpretation of the universe is not inherently bad. It just depends on what the people in power think about it, and their personal beliefs. And it's like, yeah, there is a whole personal element to this, and the old bishop used to just be against heliocentrism for who knows why. Like he probably just had a bad experience with it in the past, and yeah, I thought this was all super awesome stuff, Bacon. Any thoughts on this? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it helps recontextualize what our assumptions of the whole series is, because it kind of then says, yeah, it's not about heliocentrism, because it's like it kind of makes you think, like initially, like, oh, the whole church is against this. No, it's just this diocese, and we're just in this small part of the world, and we really don't explore it much outside of that. But yeah.
Yeah, I love this bit where it's like Antoni says that even if the Earth was proved to be just orbiting the sun, then maybe that could be interpreted as like evidence of the Holy Spirit. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that is crazy.
Yeah,
there's like so many interpretations these things. And,
this is also what I loved about that. Is that Antoni on the fly, he just knows scripture so well that he's like, oh, like we can make it fit anything, basically.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Yep. They say what does he say? It's the job of theologians to reinterpret the text to make sense of it, basically. Which is true. It's like us interpreting orb here. So yeah.
Yeah.
But after this, we get the confrontation, which is, I think, one of my favorite scenes in this whole show, which is Nowak basically being forced to answer why he hates heliocentrism so much. And it's like, he has no answer. Like initially he like stumbles on it. He's like, oh, he says something about like the divine and God and how it's like a blasphemy to God or whatever. And then he says, oh no, but like the previous bishop was against. He's just like stammering the whole time. I'm like, man, it is true. Like he's just been doing it, and he has no strong reason for why he thinks this and why he's been doing it. And it's like, and obviously the conversation continues, and we basically, Nowak is finding out in this moment that his entire life has been just doing the dirty work for someone's personal belief, like the past bishop. And all of like everything that he's done has been just for there's no higher purpose to it. It's just purely because this one guy, the bishop, just was vehemently against it and used you for his ends. And like even now, all the work that you've done, like Antoni is erasing it. Like he's going and taking all the evidence of all the past inquisitions. He's getting rid of it, and your life was wasted. And no one will remember you, and like it was all for nothing. And now it's going to become heliocentrism. Like if Antoni got his way, heliocentrism is going to become a thing. Like people are going to start believing this now, and your whole life is wasted. And it's awesome, Bacon. Oh my goodness, I'm on the edge of my seat watching this stuff. I'm like, what's going to happen? Yeah. The one interesting thing that happens here is that Nowak kind of, in response to this, is like talking about all the things he's done in the past and how they were like important. And he names people. I wrote it down here. He names Hubert, Raphael, Oxy, and Bedeni. Like he remembers them, which is interesting to me. Like I wouldn't have expected that. Raphael, I get it. Raphael, I get he'd remember that. Hubert, I'm kind of surprised he remembered Hubert at all, but good for him. And Oxy and Bedeni, I guess it left an impression on him as well, but yeah.
Yeah, and Hubert is the most surprising one for sure.
Yeah. But it just shows that like Nowak, I guess, wasn't taking it as lightly as we thought, kind of. Like these were things that stuck with him. It was a thing that he kind of dedicated his life to, like eradicating this heliocentrism. Even if it wasn't like something that he was showing in the moment, like now that he's reflecting on his life, these are important moments to him. Like these people that influenced him so much, like the people he chased, like Hubert and Raphael and Oxy and Bedeni. Yeah. And I have a quote here, Bacon. I said, "Was I really the only one in all the world? The only one who actually suppressed heliocentrism was me." It's like, wow, what a line to drop. So yeah, you have anything you want to say about this stuff, Bacon?
No, not really.
Cool.
Yeah, it's just cool. It's just cool. I love it so much. It's just like, and it's like, it's another thing in the scene. You're like, would he find out that this was the man that murdered his daughter? And he never does. Like. Yeah. But then he still gets his revenge because he kills Antoni anyway. And you're like, oh, it works out,
Yep. Man, it is. Yeah. Jolenta's life is unbelievably tragic. And I guess Nowak's life is a consequence of that. Yeah, man. Yeah, I guess, yeah. Nowak in the end, he wins. Yeah, he kills Antoni. Actually, he wins like substantially, like an impressive amount. Like he truly is really good at his job in that he like kills Antoni. He blames it on Draka. He also blames it on heliocentrism because he's seeded the idea of like some heliocentric like person is in there. Like I'm just here for an inquisition on them. And he like perpetuates the taboo of like heliocentrism all in this like one swift act of like burning down his church. It's like, wow, he's a good villain. He's really good at his job and everything. He's a smart guy, so I liked all that, Nowak is awesome. Now,
he is.
Neville, okay, Bacon, we got a whole episode on Nowak dying, okay? My goodness. Raphael shows up. It's like the coolest moment in this series. I I'm getting hyped and chills, and oh my goodness, I'm pausing, I'm cheering, I'm like, Rafael, that's my man. But it's all in his imagination at the same time. He hasn't actually shown up yet, you know, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, Nowak has the I'm a villain of the story bit that we talked about. Oh, Bacon. There's so much good stuff in this episode. The idea of like Rafael talks about how, I guess just to say, when I say Rafael, I mean obviously Nowak is thinking all these things, so it's like Nowak's perspective. But Rafael is saying that when like there is so much difference between us, but like when people look at us in history, like both forward and backwards, they see us as just people from the 15th century. It's like, wow. It's like one of those moments where I'm like, man, isn't Orb just so thought-provoking? That is true. Like when I think of like the 1400s, you know, I think of just like it's just these people, you know, they're all the same, but they're not. They're just so different. There's like people like Nowak and people like Raphael, and oh my goodness, it's awesome, Bacon.
Yeah, you know, I really like how he frames it. It's like we are friends of an era, and it is true. It's like it's a really interesting perspective because like often we just think, oh, is that old medieval people? And we just all lump them together. Like we lump so many groups of people together in just like assumptions of how they are. And it's always almost overwhelming to find out how individually different everybody is, you know? Like, and you can only really ever glance that. And I think that is so true for like any kind of group, you know, like history naturally, like how easy is it for us to associate basically people in the 15th and 14th century basically being the same people? It's like that's 100 years difference. Like you wouldn't say you're the same as someone in the 1920s, right? And I understand we could be like, well, technology's moved faster. You wouldn't even associate with someone in the 1970s, like 50 years ago. But then you're like, oh well, you know, the 12th century and the 14th century, they're basically the same. 15th century is basically the same as well, you know? Like it's like it is such a this is I love these thoughts.
I agree.
And is there reminds me of what's the bloke's name? Meta Micro Videos by Matthew Matosis. Yes. And he makes a point how like history condenses. And something along the lines of that where he makes a point with regard to video games. Like Mozart and Beethoven didn't live during the same time, or they lived like Mozart lived when Beethoven died, or something like that. But we consider them the same era, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like that's like considering someone with video games to we have our Beethoven in Miyazaki, or not Miyazaki, sorry, Miyamoto, the guy who made Mario, right? But that's like we've not even met the Mozart of video game design, you know? That
is crazy.
Like, that's a profound thought. Like we've yet to meet like some crazy artisan or Kojima or whatever artisan you want to think about that's like a legend in video game design, you know. So anyway, it's just one of those perspective things which are like, it's like we will talk about Rafael and Nowak in the same breath. It's the same type of person. So, yeah
when they're so different, my goodness.
My goodness,
I echo these sentiments, Bacon, my god. But this leads to what is actually my favorite bit from this episode, which is continuing on this idea. I have like a massive quote. I guess I'll just read it out and then we can talk about it. But it is, I guess I'll read the first sentence because Rafael says, more than those born with similar philosophies, I feel much closer to those who were born in the same era as me. And I'm like, man, that is like the truest thing I've heard in my life. Like there are elements of like, it is just crazy because it's like, how do I express this? There are elements of division within the world. There are like groups of people that I like get, like I identify against or whatever. Like I hate gamers. Okay, that's like a group of people I don't like. Because gamers are dumb and like they have all the bad opinions and there's like so many things I don't like about gamers. Okay, I play games, of course, but I'm different. I'm not a gamer. Okay, there's like basically all this division and people that I like, groups of people that I hate like that, like gamers or whatever. But like the hate that I have for gamers, or like the connection I have with gamers is so much stronger. And so much, it renders my hate for them so insignificant compared to like the connection I have with any other, like anyone from like the 1900s or even way beyond that, like even before that is like infinitely like no connection. Like I may hate the gamers, but my goodness, they are my people. Like even if like some random gamer from like some country I've never been to that doesn't even speak my language, they are my person because they live in the era that I do and play games and like they exist in my time. These are my people. Even if I might hate them, you know, like it's just to me, this is like the most, I've just never thought about it as well, where it's like, man, they're like people with such opposing philosophies to me in my current like era, but like I would take them over anyone from the past because they live in my world, like they live in my time. I don't know. To me, this just really rung true. I don't know if it like rings true to other people or if it rings true to you, Bacon, but it really did to me. And I was like, man, what an interesting perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it ring true in the same way that it did for you, but it is such an interesting. It's like we are molded by like okay. Let's give another example. People arguing over the internet with politics currently or whatever. So you have like alt right and super left. So you have like Hassan. You have us in the center probably, and then you have Nick Fuentes or whatever. I don't know.
Yep.
Right. And it's like, yeah, we're like at each other's. Oh, okay, let's do Hassan, Destiny, and Nick Fuentes. Sorry, let's not sub ourselves in. But it's like they're like they're all like enemies, but they could not be without each other. Like they've defined the era of internet politics in some way, and you can't have one without the other. And in that they have that connection, which is almost sad because they're enemies. And why don't they like
Yeah.
It's like
Bacon, that's a much better example than my gamer's example. Well done, Bacon. My goodness.
There we go. Yeah, but people get the gamers more. I think it's just wider.
Maybe, but true. All right, let me continue this quote. So, more than those born with similar philosophies, I feel much closer to those who were born in the same era as me. Though it may seem absurd and thought and feeling may deny it, I'd like to believe this. I feel that we, who happen to live in this day and age, even if we hated one another enough to kill, are comrades who built an era together. Oh my goodness. And I'm watching this, I'm tearing up, Bacon. I'm like, oh my goodness, that's so true. This was...
so true.
It's so good. And it is also so good in that it is also Nowak in this moment comforting himself with this thought. Like after he has realized that he is the villain, and it's
things,
like, God.
They always know to be true the whole time.
Yeah. And the music is also so good. I can't emphasize that enough. Like the music carries the scene as well. Not carries it, but like is a big part of what makes the scene land so well for me. Yeah. There's also, I just have so many quotes, Bacon, but this is my last one, don't worry. Nowak says, "You're too young to be killed by beliefs, be they your own or those of others." That's what I thought. I'm like, oh, like Rafael's death really stuck with him. Obviously we can tell like this is the ghost that's haunting him at the end, his final moments. But yeah, like he really felt bad that like Rafael had to die in that moment. Like he felt he was too young for all of this. Like someone like him can handle it, Nowak. You know, he's lived a life and he can be killed by beliefs, but like children shouldn't. And it's like, oh, it's an interesting perspective. I don't know if I agree with it, but it's like,
kids, which I like that Nowak.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then he puts on the glove on Jolenta's hand, and clearly he has realized that was his daughter that exploded in the explosives. And he basically, he just cries about it, and it's like, God, please, send my daughter to heaven, basically, is I guess what he implies. And it's like very...
Yeah, and it's a weird thing because it's like, he's like, heliocentrism, it might not be heretical, so please save her. Like that gets to the heart of Nowak. Like of course he's going to be mad because he spent his 35 years of his life like killing people about this, and he feels bad about it. But it it's like at the end of the day, he wants his daughter to get to heaven. And he's just like, maybe I've done bad stuff and I've just killed for no point at all, but my daughter, please save her,
Yeah. Amen. It's so good. But then Nowak dies, Bacon. Oh my goodness, our protagonist. Not our protagonist, but our main guy who we follow through.
No. I would say a protagonist. He's not the hero, but he's the protagonist.
Yeah. To be honest, he is our one through line throughout all of this. So yeah. Yep. He dies. And then we swap perspective to Draka, who in her final moments is kind of starting to think that like her life was kind of pointless. And she's thinking about like, what was the point in all this? And here I am dying and I haven't achieved anything. And like, what was the point of living? And then she experiences a sunrise. It's very cute. And she's like, oh, wow, you know what? I guess the point is that it's like, I mean, this is a thing you see in every story. You see in Attack on Titan with Armin and Zeke, and you see it in like everything where it's like, you know what? The point of life is to just enjoy things. The day-to-day moments, the small connections with friends, the witnessing of a sunrise, running up to the tree on that hill as they do in Attack on Titan. These are the important moments in life. And I'm like, oh, so true. So yeah. Anything on this? Anything on Draka or Nowak or anything else on this episode you want to say, Bacon?
No, not really. This is good. Great episode. It's all good.
Yep.
It's all very, very good.
All right, then we get the final section, which is, I think, the last 2 episodes or something like that. Following Albert, who, as far as I understand, if I'm understanding the text at the end of this correctly, he's a real person. He's our first, like, actual person, yeah.
Yeah, I actually kind of forgot this detail when I brought this up to you initially. But yeah, he's the first real person.
That's right. And I guess more importantly, Bacon, who cares about Albert? There's a new opening. But this time it's like it's
Yeah.
so different because there's like all the especially at the beginning, all these like flashes of like all the characters are gone and it's just like black screen now and it's like, oh look, they're like they don't exist anymore. They're like they've been erased or whatever. It's like super cute. Yeah, I love the opening. What an opening, Bacon. This is like definitely
Yeah.
this has to be my top 10 openings of all time. Like if I were to make my video I just made about like top 10 openings, I feel like this
Yeah.
absolutely all would be in there.
And guess what?
Yeah.
Elite Aria at the beginning of this was like, oh, it's all right.
Yeah, I can't believe that. It is. I need to go back and listen to myself say that. I can't believe I ever said that, you know?
Yeah. Such a good OP.
Yep, I completely agree. All right. So what on earth are we going to say about Albert Bacon? Albert, there's a few things that happens with him. One is that he's really smart. Like a lot of our, or I would say, dare say, all of our protagonists up until this point. He's been very smart. But he has a whole thing where we don't know it yet, but like his father was killed in the pursuit of, or like his father was killed by someone who is, I guess, pursuing knowledge. And because of that, Albert is kind of against that now. He's scared of it. He doesn't think it's a good idea. When he looks at the stars and tries to trace out the constellations now, he stops.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we basically, the majority of these episodes are spent on his backstory, where I guess before that, the thing to facilitate his backstory is a confessional, Bacon. Which to me is like a crazy concept. Like that you would go and like trust this stranger to just tell them like all the things you've done bad and that feel bad about, and I don't know, it feels strange to me. Like I cannot ever imagine doing that. Maybe back in the day it was more like, I don't know, more trustworthy or something. I have no idea. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. But Bacon Raphael is back. What the hell is going on? Oh my goodness. Do you have an interpretation of this?
Yeah, so I was confused. I had to look it up a little bit because I never really figured it out. But I think there's two interpretations. I think the one is it's just like it's more like a circular reasoning. It's like a lookalike, basically. It's not actually Raphael. It's not the one that we started off with. It's like a way for the author to kind of bring this all together. And the reason why is like some people said it's like basically Raphael would like basically it's like how Raphael acts isn't really like how he has in the start, and you could be like, well, he's just older, but it's like in the sense that it's like philosophy that he would kill if no one gave him the information is very, very different to the Raphael we knew in the early episodes. But then again, if you're like if it's like 10 years on, you can change a lot, right? So
true.
Yeah.
That's okay. I guess my interpretation would be that is definitely Raphael, or I would say more so, it is an interpretation of Raphael's philosophy that is embodied in Raphael, like another version of Raphael, an alternative Raphael.
Yeah.
Because it is like, I guess the point of like seeing him here, at least in my perspective, the point of like why it's important that this guy is Raphael or looks like him again, embodies his ideals and everything, is that we see the extreme nature of like, if you were to believe Raphael's philosophy about being rational to the extreme, then you can justify things like murdering this guy's dad because he's blocking your knowledge, and you can justify that as being like a rational thing to do. And if you have the capacity as like an adult, like someone who can enact violence on someone like that, then this is what happens. Like you can create tragedies like this. So to me, it's like, it's like I don't really think much about it, the logic wise. I'm just like, it's like an alternative reality Raphael. It's like him, but it's not him. And it's like, it's like a story thing. I don't really have like a strong thing, but to me, it's like Raphael, or at least someone who embodies his ideas that looks like him.
I would like to have a little bit more of a look into it, because I'm sure there's some interesting interpretations.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, everybody that might have been expecting something from me, but yeah, I can't.
Leave an angry comment, guys. All right, tell him that you're disappointed.
Yeah, leave an angry comment. Yeah.
All right, they go to the meeting of free-flowing ideas, Bacon, and it's like super awesome, and it's
which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I'd like to go there, talk about AI or something. I don't know. They probably would have no concept of that at that point, though. Yep. Let me see. What have I actually got on my notes? I have a quote. Oh, this is the quote. This is interesting because I guess I don't know if there's anything else, because I'm going to skip kind of to the conclusion here. So if there's anything else, I guess afterwards, just interrupt me or say something. But we get the reintroduction of the motif, or like the question that starts at the beginning of the show, and we get it reintroduced here, which is to obtain bread, one offers coin; to obtain rights, one offers taxes; to obtain wages, one offers labor. What must one offer up to obtain truth?
Yes.
Now, I feel like we got an answer here. I feel like it is also, however, a little bit open to interpretation what the answer is. Do you want to say what you think, and then I could say what I think? Or maybe it is like very clear and I'm just overthinking it.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know exactly what the answer would be. There's so many answers I could give. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, I guess I don't really pay much attention to what Orb's answer might be. I guess
sure.
I'd say like what I see is like for truth, it is to that unrivaled commitment to your that unrivaled commitment to your conviction. And that's kind of like
Hmm.
the what a lot of this story is about. And you then you sacrifice for your conviction for that truth. You have to do a lot of bad things, I guess. I'm not sure exactly, but it kind of goes to what Yolenta was saying about her conviction for heliocentrism. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah,
You know what? I guess I was kind of deceiving you because I kind of also agree that I don't think there's a very there's a clear answer here. Um,
yeah,
I think my reading of this all comes from Albert's final like speech that he gives, where he's like pointing up to the stars or whatever. Um,
mm,
I think it's like the conclusion he arrives at is probably what the show is trying to tell us is the closest to being a correct answer, which is that um, I guess how would I phrase this? I think you need to kind of it's a thing about in order to arrive at truth, you have to kind of abandon individualism and more work with other people, but also at the same time you need to retain that individualism. Um, where basically no, he has this whole speech at the end, Albert, where he's talking about how there's two groups of people that are doing things the wrong way, which is the people who are rejecting those with ideas that they deem to be incorrect. So this is talking about people like Nowak in the church, right? Like people who are expunging people who are heretics, like people who have the wrong ideas, you know, cutting them out, killing them, stuff like that. Like these are the people who are doing things. This
yeah,
is like a wrong answer. You should not be doing this. That's what Albert comes to. Um, there's also the group of people who are um, also rejecting people or like, you know, casting out people in a similar way. But the people they're doing it to are the people who are preventing progress, like people like Albert's
mm,
dad, or even just people like Nowak, like casting him out because he's the one like kind of preventing the truth or whatever. Like I guess there's like a whole group of people like Rafael in this like kind of set of episodes here who kills Albert's dad and is like kind of preventing, who's killing this person because he's preventing progress, and that's also a wrong answer. Um, and the thing that Albert arrives at is that he doesn't have an answer to like what you give to kind of get truth or whatever. But the way you kind of get to an answer there is by working with people, like working with everyone as a collective. But at the same
yeah,
time, the people in that collective have to be pursuing their own curiosity in their own way. Where it's like, yes, we have to be accepting of all these ideas, but at the same time, you still need to have your own belief of like what you think is going to be the correct answer, and you need to work toward what you find curious, and what you think is going to be the most interesting. And that's how like we as a collective kind of arrive at truth, I guess. I don't know. I don't think it like ties in that well with the whole
yeah.
like
I
what do you give
think,
up? But
and that's
yeah.
that kind of gets into the which we didn't touch upon, but the curiosity idea that Rafael 2.0, adult Rafael, was
Yep.
talking about. How he says curiosity will die because people will get too specialized and won't have grand ideas. I think that's what he's saying, which is
Mm.
almost like a refutation against modern science. So we have to be incredibly
Yeah.
specialized. Um, but I think what you said there kind of takes a bit of what Rafael is saying and then disagrees with it, where it's like, no, like we get to truth by following our convictions for truth in a specific way and then coming together. And you must have those individual convictions, but as a group, we must also
Yeah.
work on it as well, which I think is actually like a very that's a very modern way of thinking about it.
Mm.
So yeah,
Yeah, true. It's like publishing research, you know, in your narrow domain, and then everyone benefits from the research
yeah,
by all looking at it and critiquing it and everything. Um, yep, interesting stuff. We get a final montage, kind of, where we're basically leading up to Albert, and we get all the past people, and we're like flashing between them as I think as
yeah,
Albert is talking. Interesting though, we get Rafael, we get Oxy, we get Draka, and then we get Albert. We don't see any Badeni or Jolenta. So it is an interesting thing of
mm,
like a confirmation that the show sees Oxy as like the main protagonist of that section. Like he is the guy. I guess it makes
yeah,
sense. Like he's
yeah,
propagating the book and everything. But
yeah.
yeah, it was interesting to see the others excluded. Oh my goodness. Um,
Yeah. I also love how it's like they go to all this work to get the book or whatever, whatever, and all that happens is that like thankfully like Albert is walking past some guy saying,
yep.
"Oh, he wanted the book called On the Movement of the Earth," and it's kind of just like he's like, "Huh, that's a stupid idea." Actually.
Is it?
And
Yeah.
yeah, then you know, it's like the truth will find a way and it feels almost if that does feel like fate, you know.
Yeah, I agree. Where it's like I love the fact that it is just a coincidence. Um, where it is
Yeah.
like, and it also touches on the idea that like reaching the truth, as long as people are curious, it is kind of inevitable. Like as long as someone
Yeah.
is open to hearing things like that, like listening to this thing and hearing like, the movement of the earth, is that a thing? Is it not? Like actually just thinking about it for a second, not just dismissing it outright. Like if you're curious about it, then like you eventually arrive at like things that are true. And it's like, oh, it's cool. I like it a lot. Yeah. Like all it takes for the idea to move on is just like someone, willing to give it a chance, even if it is like indirectly. And it was a really good wrap up. And like,
Yeah.
yeah. Now, Bacon, we end this show in two ways, but one of them is that, oh my goodness, we zoom out and we see the earth moving, and it's like, oh my goodness, oh my god, the earth is moving, and I'm like tearing up. I'm like, oh my god, this is the whole point of the thing, and like, oh my god, the earth is moving, and this story takes place on a moving earth, and I'm watching this on a moving earth, and oh my god, so that was all really good. But then we end with like a history lesson on like, I guess Albert, and what was he? He was like, he expressed skepticism in geocentrism and then wrote a book, and then that book became like a little bit widespread in the university, and then Copernicus like was inspired by him or something, and then I guess was the initial person who like popularized the idea of heliocentrism. So yeah, now Bacon, what else do we say? Is there anything else to say, Bacon? Oh my god.
No, I don't think there is. It's just, what a great series. What a great series.
It is true. It is a really good series.
And Ari, isn't it crazy that it's all 25 episodes? We don't have to wait for season 2.
It is the craziest thing. Yeah. Yeah, it truly is. I'm very glad I watched this. It's interesting in that one thing I've learned since finishing the show is that apparently this like really isn't popular at all. Like to me, the fact that like when I looked up a characters on Wiki and they don't even have like a Wiki entry, like they have the name for like, they have Jolenta, they have a page for Jolenta, but you click on the page for Jolenta and there's no information on her. Like, it doesn't have a picture, doesn't have a name. Like, oh my god, there's like this fandom is like non-existent. Which is kind of crazy to me because it is such a good show, and good manga, I would assume too. I haven't read it, but like obviously if this is the stuff that it was based on the manga, then I'm surprised it's not more popular than it is. So yeah, great show, Bacon. I guess it's also a show to me. Well, let me quickly say this. It's a show for me where it will forever change, I think, or it'll be like how do I say this? Vinland Saga is like, for me, my Viking thing. Whenever I think of Vikings, nothing is ever going to replace Vinland Saga in my mind, I don't think. I think when I think of the Viking era, I think of Vinland Saga. Whenever I think of like the church and like the Inquisitions and stuff during like periods like this is the show that I'm always going to think of. It'll be tough for like something else to kind of overtake this. And like, I feel like, even though that's not really the point of the show, like it doesn't really matter that much. Like the truth and I guess the church as like a concept is kind of important, but the setting, basically this show is like, there are a lot of shows I watch and I'm not going to really think about it again. This is a show where I'm like, it has forever changed what I'm going to think about a certain area of history. So I appreciate it for that as well. Like as an added element to like, just, I enjoyed the story, I enjoyed the show, but also it's like changed a little bit of like how I will think of things. So yeah, we like it. But go ahead, Bacon, you were going to say something.
Yeah. No, I forget what I was going to say, but I'm building on what you say. I think, this is why it's not as popular. I think the thing is, even though it's not popular, whenever you mention orb, people love it. Like for example, on Trash Taste, they talk about orbs, so they talk about it all the time. It's the Gigots like anime of the decade or whatever. Like, so they'll bring it up again, and every time they bring it up, there's at least a comment with like 3,000 likes, where it's like I hear orb appreciation and I like kind of thing. So like it's one of those things where like I don't think it's not got the material to make a cult fan base over time like a JJA can,
Sure.
But it is just like it's like Odd Taxi, or like people who know you'll talk to them like, oh, have you seen this anime? And they'll be like, oh, it's amazing,
Yeah.
It's similar to Vinland Saga. Vinland Saga has a bit more of a fandom because it's longer running. I mean, it literally ran for like 20 years.
Yeah.
But like Vinland Saga is in a kind of similar spot where it's like everybody that you've met that's watched Vinland Saga is probably going to be positive about it. So,
yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's interesting. It is funny because like before I watched this show, I had only ever heard like positive things about it. It is funny. Like I didn't know anything about it, but I'm like, yeah, everyone who I've ever heard mention this is always like a massive fan of it. So yeah, it does have a good reputation despite not being popular. So yep. Bacon, I actually have one more note, believe it or not. I was looking at my miscellaneous notes, and my last note says, the show has cool torch flame animation.
Yeah, doesn't really have much
Yeah.
animation, but when it comes to tortures, they love it.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know why. It's just way better than like everything else in the show. I think that is probably the show's only drawback, which is that like I don't know. The visuals are just nothing special at all. Like they're fine. There are like really
Yeah,
good moments sometimes. Like some fights are like really well animated.
yeah.
But
Totally, and like the OP's really great. But
yeah,
I think I said this to you at the start. I would love an like a really interestingly directed TV show, live action of this, because I read
yeah, that
like
could be
you could get like
interesting.
full set design, and then you just get like more character expressions and nuances, and like you
Yeah.
have there's so many great movies out there that if you just have a great actor, you give them the script and they'll go off, they'll pop off,
Yep.
like
True.
so yeah.
This is absolutely something that we could have a nice like live action interpretation of it. Um, Maybe it would be like the best of all the things I'm thinking of. Like even like I don't know, like I could think of like a Vinland Saga thing, but even that wouldn't work as well. Like this would work really well. It's very grounded. It's very like I don't know. Yeah, I basically I completely agree with you, Bacon. Yeah, true. All right. What? Anything else, or is that it? Are we done with the orb?
I think we're done with Orb.
Oh my goodness. Um,
Finally,
you
Kuku, I don't
know,
have to talk to you ever again.
that is true. We're done. I'm never gonna see Bacon. No one is ever gonna comment on our. No, actually, guys, comment right now. Okay, say something. Say what you thought about
All
Orb.
right.
Say.
We've asked for comments a lot here, but
Yeah, we need comments. No one commented on the last one. Actually, did they? Wait, we should check this just in case they did. Now they feel bad. Wait, let's see. Don't worry, guys. My website is loading right now. My webpage. Scrolling down. Orb on the movements of the Earth. When on Earth did I publish this? Oh, here we go. Okay. Guess what? If you left a comment, then congratulations. It's about to get read out right now. Oh, Creedon left a heart. Okay, thank you, Creedon. Okay, congratulations.
nice. We
All
love
right.
Creedon.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess all right. Well, that's it. Thank you everyone for watching. I don't know what we'll be doing next, but I'm sure one day me and Jockey Bacon will reconvene and we'll create something again, one of these series. But yep, that's it from me. Anything you want to say, Bacon?
Nope. Thank you all for listening and watching. I hope you all the best. Have fun.
All right.
Watch more Orb.
Yep. See you later. Bye bye.
See you.